Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for this opportunity to share and repeat some of Srila Prabhupada's realizations and realizations that we hear from all the senior devotees. So today's verses are from Canto 4, Chapter 9, text 31 to 35, the chapter entitled Dhruva Maharaj Returns Home. Aho bata mama anatmayam manda bhagyasya pashyata bhavachiddha padamulam gatpa yacheyat antavat. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Alas, just look at me. I am so unfortunate. I approached the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who can immediately cut the chain of the repetition of birth and death. But still, out of my foolishness, I prayed for things which are perishable. Anyone would like to read the purport?
Sudha Mataji?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yeah, Mataji, please call out the names.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Vasudha Mataji, you can read the purport, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Purport, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The word Anantmayam is very significant in this verse. Atma means the soul and Anantmya means without any conception of the soul. Srila Rishabha Deva instructed his sons that unless a human being comes to the point of understanding the Atma or spiritual position, whatever he does is ignorance. And this brings only defeat in his life. Dhruva Maharaj regrets his unfortunate position, for although he approached the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is always able to give his devotee the highest benediction of cessation of the repetition of birth and death, which is impossible for any demigod to offer, he foolishly wanted something perishable. When Hiranyakashipu asked immortality from Lord Brahma expressed his inability to offer such a benediction because he himself is not immortal. Therefore, immortality or complete cessation of the chain of repeated birth and death can be offered by the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead himself, not by others. Harim vina na mritim taranti. It is said that without the blessings of Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, no one can stop the continuous chain of birth and death within this material world. Therefore, the Supreme Lord is also called Bhava Chit. The Vaishnava philosophy in the process of Krishna consciousness prohibits the devotee from all kinds of material aspirations. A Vaishnava devotee should always be Anyabhilashita Sunya, free from all material aspirations for the results of fruitive activities or empiric philosophical speculation. Dhruva Maharaj was actually initiated by Narada Muni, the greatest Vaishnava in the chanting of Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This mantra is a Vishnu mantra, for by practicing the chanting of this mantra, one is elevated to the Vishnu Loka. Dhruva Maharaj regrets that although he was initiated in the Vishnu mantra by a Vaishnava, he still aspired for material benefits. That was another cause for lamentation. Although he got the result of the Vishnu mantra by the causeless mercy of the Lord, he lamented how foolish he was to have strived for material benefits while practicing devotional service. In other words, every one of us who is engaged in devotional service in Krishna consciousness should be completely free from all material aspirations. Otherwise, we will have to lament like Dhruva Maharaj. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. We can read the next verse.
Hare Krishna, Shilpa Mataji, you read the verse and Archana Mataji the translation. And I'll read the purport. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Matirvidushita deveha patadribira sahishnurbihi yo narad vachastastham nagrahisham asattamha. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Pranam Prabhu. Translation by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Since all the demigods who are situated in the higher planetary system will have to come down again, they are all envious of my being elevated to Vaikuntha Loka by devotional service. These intolerant demigods have dissipated my intelligence, and only for this reason could I not accept the genuine benediction of the instruction of sage Narada. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. As shown by many instances in the Vedic literature, when a person undergoes severe austerities, the demigods become very much perturbed because they are always afraid of losing their post as the predominating deities of the heavenly planets. It is known to them that their position in the higher planetary system is impermanent, as it is stated in the Bhagavad Gita, 9th chapter, Kshine Punya Matya Lokam Vishanti. It is said in the Gita that after exhausting the results of their pious activities, all the demigods who are inhabitants of the higher planetary system have to come back again to this earth. It is a fact that the demigods control the different activities of the limbs of our bodies. Factually, we are not free even in moving our eyelids. Everything is controlled by them. Dhruva Maharaj's conclusion is that these demigods, being envious of his superior position in devotional service, conspired against him to pollute his intelligence, and thus, although he was the disciple of a great Vaishnava, Narad Muni, he could not accept Narada's valid instructions. Now, Dhruva Maharaja regretted very much that he had neglected these instructions. Narad Muni had asked him, why should you bother about insult or adoration from your stepmother? He, of course, said to Dhruva Maharaj that since Dhruva was only a child, what did he have to do with such insult or adoration? But Dhruva Maharaj was determined to achieve the benediction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore Narada advised him to go back home for the time being, and in mature time he could try to practice devotional service. Dhruva Maharaj regretted that he had rejected the advice of Narad Muni and was adamant in asking him for something perishable, namely revenge against his stepmother for her insult and possession of the kingdom of his father. Dhruva Maharaja regretted very much that he could not take seriously the instruction of his spiritual master and that his consciousness was therefore contaminated. Still, the Lord is so merciful that due to Dhruva's execution of devotional service, he offered Dhruva the ultimate Vaishnava goal. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. We go to the next verse, text 33.
Hare Krishna. Krishnamurti Prabhu, you can read that shloka. Kripamai Mataji, you can read the translation. And Sharmila Mataji can read the purport. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Pranams Prabhuji.
Pranam, Hare Krishna.
It is very, very auspicious day for me, Prabhuji. So as because yesterday only I have remembered yourself and Mataji. Today I am taking the darshan of you. I am grateful to you. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. We are also very grateful that we got this opportunity to meet all of you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. दैवी मायाम् उपाश्रित्य प्रसुप्त इव भिन्नदृक् तप्ये द्वितीये अप्यसते भ्रातृव्यहृद्रुजाः. हरे कृष्ण प्रभुजी. प्रणाम प्रभुजी.
Ji, Mataji, Krishna Dandatnam. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki Jai. The translation, Dhruva Maharaja lamented, I was under the influence of illusory energy, being ignorant of the actual facts. I was sleeping on her lap, under a vision of duality. I saw my brother as my enemy, and falsely I lamented within my heart, thinking they are my enemies. Thank you, Mataji. Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Real knowledge is revealed to a devotee only when he comes to the right conclusion about life by the grace of the Lord. Our creation of friends and enemies within this material world is something like dreaming at night. In dreams, we create so many things out of various impressions in the subconscious mind. But all such creations are simply temporary and unreal. In the same way, although apparently we are awake in material life, because we have no information of the soul and the supersoul, we create many friends and enemies simply out of imagination. Srila Krishnadasa Kaviraja Goswami says that within this material world or material consciousness, good and bad are the same. The distinction between good and bad is simply a mental concoction. The actual fact is that all living entities are sons of God or byproducts of his marginal energy. Because of our being contaminated by the modes of material nature, we distinguish one spiritual spark from another. That is also another kind of dreaming. It is stated in the Bhagavad Gita that those who are actually learned do not make any distinction between a learned scholar, a brahmana, an elephant, a dog, and a chandala. They do not see in terms of the external body. Rather, they see the person as spirit soul. By higher understanding, one can know that the material body is nothing but a combination of the 5 material elements. In that sense also, the bodily construction of a human being and that of a demigod are one and the same. From the spiritual point of view, we are all spiritual sparks, parts and parcels of the Supreme Spirit, God. Either materially or spiritually, we are basically one, but we make friends and enemies as directed by the illusory energy. Dhruva Maharaja therefore said, Daivim Mayam Upashritya. The cause of his bewilderment was his association with the illusory material energy. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Next verse. It's still text 35 is what we are told to speak till today.
Prabhu, it's still 34.
34. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Prashanti Mataji, you can read the shloka. Anita Mataji, you can read the translation and the purport. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
मय्येतत् प्रार्थितं व्यर्थं चिकित्सेवा गतायुषी प्रसाद्य जगदात्मानं तपसां दुष्प्रसादनं भवच्चितमयोच्चेहं भवं भाग्यविवर्जितः. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. It is very difficult to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but in my case, although I have satisfied the Super Soul of the whole universe, I have prayed only for useless things. My activities were exactly like treatment given to a person who is already dead. Just see how unfortunate I am, for in spite of meeting the Supreme Lord, who can cut one's link with birth and death, I have prayed for the same conditions again. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji, for coming on the call. As Krishnamurti Prabhuji said, even I was also thinking, not yesterday, last week. It's been a long time since Prabhuji and Mataji had visited the forum. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Anita
Hare
Mataji, you
Krishna.
can read the purport, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Okay, Mataji, thank you. Purport by Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Sometimes it so happens that a devotee engaged in the loving service of the Lord desires some material benefit in exchange for this service. This is not the proper way to discharge devotion service. Out of ignorance, of course, sometimes a devotee does so. But Dhruva Maharaj regrets his personal behavior in this connection. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So today we are discussing these wonderful verses from Shrimad Bhagavatam. We'll take blessings from Srila Prabhupada and the previous acharyas before we go forward. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishnaprishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So here Srila Prabhupada has made many wonderful points in regards to Dhruva Maharaj's lamentation. This is immediately after Sri Narayan gave him the darshan, and Lord Vishnu satisfied his material desires as well as gave him spiritual benediction. And then he left. And this is when Dhruva Maharaj is feeling this lamentation. In fact, he was just a 5-year-old boy, and when he had the darshan of Lord Vishnu, he was just completely dumbfounded. And because he's just a 5-year-old boy, he didn't know how to express his ecstasies that he's feeling just by having darshan of Vishnu. All of his material desires actually were purified just by that darshan. And he was not able to, there were so many emotions going on, but he was not able to express them because he was not literally qualified. He didn't understand what those emotions are, these ecstasies are. He had never experienced that before. And then Lord Vishnu, he took his conch shell and touched on the head of Sri Dhruva Maharaj. And as soon as he touched the conch shell on the head, immediately all of the knowledge of the universe actually came inside Dhruva Maharaj, and he got the power to express his prayers, his emotions. And the first thing in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, it says that the first thing Dhruva Maharaj said is, Sthana bhilashita tapasi sthitoham Tvam praptavan deva munindra guhyam Kachan vichanvanam api divya ratnam Swamin kritarthosmi varam nayache, which means sthana bhilashita tapasi sthitoham. I had performed my tapasya for what? For sthan, for position, for name, fame, prestige, adoration, and distinction in this material world. That's the reason I performed these austerities. Sthanabhilashita tapasi sthitoham Tvam praptavan deva munindra guhyam. I wanted some position in the material world, but what I got your darshan, which is so difficult even for great sages, munis, and demigods to have this kind of devotional darshan. I feel like Kacham Vichanvanam api Divya Ratnam. I feel like I was looking for broken pieces of glass, but I found this ornament, this great Kacham Vichanvanam api Divya Ratnam, this Ratna, greatest jewel that I found of your darshan. So I'm completely satisfied. Swamin Kritarthosmi, I'm very grateful. Kritartha, I'm very grateful, very satisfied. Varam Nayache, I don't want any benediction. But then Krishna, Vishnu, he said, yes, I understand you don't want any benediction, but you had some desire, so I will fulfill it. And I will give you your spiritual benediction as well. And this way, but once Vishnu left, Dhruva Maharaj was like, what was I thinking? Why did I mean, I'm glad, I'm very grateful I got the darshan, but what was my motivation? He was lamenting him. My God, this material motivation, why did I come to Krishna for material motivation? And this is what he's lamenting. Although this is a very great lamentation. Many of us would say, oh, okay, I want my material things satisfied, and spiritual, it'll keep going on, that's okay. Many of us don't have the long-term spiritual vision, and we try to focus on the short-term material vision. But Dhruva Maharaj, his focus was the long-term and short-term, both spiritual vision. And here, that's why he's saying that why did I look for any material desire? I was thinking of my brother as my enemy. Why? All this he's thinking because now he's completely purified. Before having that darshan, he was burning in his heart with so much desire for this, getting a position greater than my father. But this immediate transformation that happens is the power of bhakti. Still, it is said in Shrimad Bhagavatam that akama sarva kamova moksha kama udharadi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. That whether you are akama, sarva kama, or moksha kama, in all these three situations, perform bhakti. Tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. That you worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, perform tivrena bhakti yogena, very intense devotional service. In either of these three cases, akama means no desire, no material desire, still engage in bhakti. Sarva kamova, our minds are full of desire, material desire, still engage in bhakti. Tivrena bhakti yogena. Or moksha kama, if we are looking for desire for liberation, then also engage in bhakti. Because bhakti will then purify our minds. It'll purify our intention as well. If we are coming to the Lord for material benediction, come to Krishna. That's what is recommended in Bhagavatam. And see what happened to Dhruva Maharaj. He came, he was full of material desires, but then he got completely, his intention, his motivation got completely purified. So Krishna is like the father, and the devatas, they are like the shopkeeper. If a child wants some wants to go buy some chocolate, if he gives the amount, some rupees or dollars, to the shopkeeper is bound to give the chocolate to the child. But if the same child goes to the father, Father, I want some chocolates, the father may give chocolate, but he may also not give, depending on what is best for the child. And so the devatas are like shopkeepers. If we give, I mean, in this example, I'm not disrespecting in that way, but in this example, if we perform any yajna to satisfy them, they will give. If we have done it properly, they will give whatever material benediction we have asked. They won't see whether that material benediction will later on be bad for us. Because some of our material desires, if they are fulfilled, it, in the long run, it may actually turn against us or against our spiritual life. Even if it helps our material life, it may be bad for our spiritual life. But Krishna is like the father. Even if we have material desire, if we go to Krishna, Krishna will see, is this going to help him in future in spiritual life? If yes, he will give all material desires and more. If not, then he will say, wait, you are not yet qualified for it. And so if we are really looking for our best interest, then best to go directly to Krishna. Sometimes he may say no or not now, but that is always in our benefit. But sometimes we get so much overwhelmed by that material desire. Oh, if I go to Krishna, he may give, he may not give, but I want this, I want the wantingly. So let me go to some demigod. They may be devatas. They may be able to, they will give definitely if I do this. But in this case, Dhruva Maharaj, he went to Yajeta Purusham Param, the Supreme Personality. And Krishna decided, yes, I will satisfy your material desire because, and give you bhakti as well, but also satisfy your material desire because this will help you in your spiritual life. If Krishna would have thought, yeah, look, I've purified you, but if I give you a kingdom greater than your father, well, I can see that you'll become more proud. You're not ready yet. So not now, maybe later. He could have chosen to do that. Krishna has that power. But so in that case, Dhruva Maharaj is very humble, and because he's now so purified of his intentions, that's why he's thinking like that. But in any case, Sri Dhruva Maharaj is known as the epitome of determination. Srila Rupa Goswami says, Utsaha Nishchaya Dhairyat Tat Tat Karma Pravartana. These three things, enthusiasm, determination, and patience. These three things are very, very important in spiritual life. And these three things simultaneously, not that if we are only utsaha, if we are only enthusiastic and not determined and not patient, then it won't work in bhakti. We won't be able to progress in bhakti because we're just very enthusiastic. Any challenge comes, because we don't have any determination, we don't have patience, that enthusiasm will go away. If we are very much determined, but there is no enthusiasm, no patience, we'll just be very, okay, very lackluster, no enthusiastic. Okay, if I feel like I will go, I will not. That determination will also go away. It will just remain in the mind, that determination. And then if we are only patient, only dhairya, there is no utsaha, there is no nishchay, then we will say, okay, devotional service, if I do little now, life after life, I'll keep getting, no problem. So long time is there. We'll be too much patient without any enthusiasm. That will also not help us progress in bhakti. So all three are very important. And Dhruva Maharaj is an example of nishchayat. He was determined that he wants to have darshan of Krishna. That determination we must have. Lord Chaitanya would love to hear this Dhruva Maharaj's pastime. Every time he would go to Gadadhar Pandit and say, tell me the pastime of Dhruva Maharaj. Let's read Shrimad Bhagavatam today. And Gadadhar Pandit would say, yes, yes, what Bhagavatam do you want to read? Let's read the pastime of Dhruva Maharaj. The next day again he would go, let's read Bhagavatam. Okay, let's read Bhagavatam. What do you want to read in Bhagavatam? Let's read Dhruva Maharaj pastime. Again and again and again he would read this pastime of Dhruva Maharaj because of his enthusiasm, his determination, and this example of determination is very much there. Here Prabhupada says in the purports that a Vaishnava, we must not ask for any material benediction. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karma anavritam, which means if we want uttama bhakti, then we must not ask Krishna for any material desire. Even Prabhupada, he was so sick one time, and there were kirtans. Devotees were asking, Prabhupada, can we do kirtans for you at the temples? And so Prabhupada didn't respond. Then again, devotees went, Prabhupada, we need your permission. We want to do kirtans for you, for your betterment. And when devotees insisted too much, then he said, okay, you can do kirtan for my betterment of health, but you pray to Krishna, Krishna, if you so desire, please make Srila Prabhupada healthy again. So Prabhupada was very careful that he didn't want kirtans to be used for any material desire. He even considered, even though praying for one's spiritual master is a spiritual desire, but still, he said it could deteriorate into a tinge of material desire. To be healthy for the sake of enjoying the material world. Although devotees wanted him to be healthy so we can get his association, the preaching could increase, but still, he said, add this tagline, if you so desire, please make our Srila Prabhupada healthy. So when we pray to Krishna, we must always ask this. We must always put this tagline, if you so desire. Because Krishna knows what is the best. He's our Father. If he feels that it is not good for us, we should not want it. Because it's anyways not good for us. We are asking to jump into a ditch. And Krishna is saying no. But we are not realizing it. So rather than saying this is what I feel that I'd like to do because it will help in my devotional service, please Krishna, if you so desire, definitely we must add this tagline, if you so desire, and understand that and agree with that. Because sometimes if Krishna does not fulfill, good, very good, he saved us. Rejection is not rejection, it's redirection to something better. This faith a devotee always has, that Krishna will always do the best for me. Krishna is my well-wisher. No one loves us more than Krishna. This is the faith. If we have this faith, we are devotees. No one in this world, no one in this creation loves us more than Krishna. Whatever we may do, however fallen our position may be, Krishna loves us the most. More than even we care for ourselves, Krishna cares for us. This is the faith of a devotee. And with this faith, if we serve Krishna, then we are actually performing anukulasya sankalpa. Anukulasya means favorable. Do things that are favorable to devotional service. Think things that are favorable for devotional service. So thinking like this, that Krishna loves us, which is a fact, and he will always be our well-wisher, is actually a form of surrender. And Krishna is pleased with that. He will reciprocate. Ye yathamam prapadyante. If we think like that Krishna, you are our most well-wisher, he is, then, but if we think like that, Krishna will reciprocate with us in that manner. If we think, yeah, Krishna, I know you love us, but I don't know if you care about my desires and what I really want. So you be happy where you are, let me be happy where I am. Then Krishna will reciprocate with us in that way. Even though Krishna still loves us, but we have not allowed him to interfere in our life. So then he backs off. He feels bad that I could have helped you, but you're not allowing me, but I'll be here. I'll still here. One day you will ask me to interfere, and then I will help you. So, ye yatha mam prapadyante tams tathaiva bhajamyaham. So this mood we must always have. Krishna, if you so desire, you know the best. And whenever we pray, if you see any prayers, even Dhruva Maharaj's prayers, any prayers or Kunti Maharani's prayers or any of the other prayers in Bhagavatam and the Acharyas, there is always these three sections in the prayer. The first section is glorifying Krishna, that you're so great, so merciful. Second section is that I am in such a fallen position. And third section is then we beg for his blessings, for performing devotional service or utilizing things in devotional service. If we see any general person who may not understand about bhakti, they go to the temple and first thing they do is they just take out a list of their material desire from their back pocket and start reading Dhanam Dehi, Janam Dehi, Yasham Dehi, all these different things, without following the etiquette for prayers to glorify Krishna, to understand, feel our position compared to Krishna, so small, infinitesimal, and then asking for benediction and grace. Prabhupada would always say that pray like this. In fact, there is a prayer of Prabhupada where during that prayer, he starts crying. Many of you may have heard that. And that time he's telling us in the lecture, this is how we must pray. He said that I am yours. I have no qualification to serve you. In fact, he was saying how we should offer bhoga. And he said, we put it in front of Krishna and we say, I'm yours. I have no qualification to serve you. But my Guru Maharaj has asked me that I should offer these food stuff to you. So please accept it. I'm very fallen. Please forgive me for my offenses. And he started crying while saying this prayer. He was feeling the prayer while he was explaining us how to pray to Krishna. So the prayers have a lot of power, immense power, but we should know how to pray and what to pray. Srila Prabhupada said in one of his classes that I was hearing one day, that the other day, that an old woman was carrying a stack of sticks on her left shoulder, and she was walking, and it started becoming very heavy for her. She couldn't put it down. She couldn't go again with it, and she started crying, please help me. God, help me. So Krishna came, and Krishna said, yes, how can I help you? And she said, can you please help me move this bag of sticks from my left shoulder to the right shoulder? Please, my left shoulder is paining a lot. And Srila Prabhupada laughed in that story. He said, she could have asked anything. She could have asked, give me pure devotional service. Krishna is right there. He's pleased and he has come here. But all he's asking is, take my burden from one place to another. Asking for material benediction is like that. Burden me more and more with these material things. Instead, and that's what Dhruva Maharaj is lamenting here. I just asked, I could have asked for pure bhakti, even though without asking, Krishna gave him. But he was like, why did I desire all this? I just desired one burden to be transformed into another kind of burden. I'm desiring this great position. I don't need this. I'm completely, for me to be happy, I don't need that position. For me to be happy, I need devotional service, which I already have now. What was I thinking? So this is the lamentation of Dhruva Maharaj. Then he goes in the next verse, Srila Prabhupada says that, or even Dhruva Maharaj says that the Devatas conspired, and because of them, I started having all these different kinds of desires. But we understand that no one is our enemy. In the end, Dhruva Maharaj says, I started thinking my brother is my enemy. But says, no, no one is my enemy. And Srila Prabhupada also says that we must understand everyone is a part and parcel of Krishna. And friends and enemies are all just creation of the mind. However, we must understand and be practical as well. That's why forgiveness is very important in bhakti. It is said that forgiveness is not so much is between humility and compassion, because we have khichdi, right? In khichdi there are several ingredients. So in the khichdi of bhakti, humility, compassion, forgiveness, these are the ingredients of the khichdi that makes it very very delicious for Krishna. Humility, compassion, forgiveness, these are not byproducts of bhakti, but actually ingredients of bhakti. And that's why Dhruva Maharaj was thinking, my brother is not my enemy, my father is not my enemy. Yes, he said those words. He didn't say anything when my stepmother said those words. My brother didn't even know what was going on. And I'm thinking them as my enemies. What was I thinking? Because of bhakti, he already had forgiveness in him. Now, forgiveness does not mean that we keep subjecting ourselves to that particular situation, but forgiveness does mean that we we don't keep any resentment in our heart towards any person. Because if we have grudge or resentment in our heart for even one person, even if we have been doing bhakti nicely, that'll stop us from going back home, back to Godhead. Because in the spiritual world, if in our current situation, imagine if we are taken to the spiritual world in our current, with all of our current anarthas of envy and greed and everything, we go to the spiritual world, we'll become envious of everyone there because everyone is so advanced. We'll become envious of their humility, that they're so great, but how they are so humble. So we won't be able to survive if we have grudge even against one person. But there are multiple levels of forgiveness that we should try. For one level of forgiveness is to not get disturbed on hearing about the person who offended us. If we are disturbed just by hearing about that person, then we have not forgiven. So the test is, when we hear about that person, do we get offended, that offended us? Do we get disturbed? If not, then okay, we have forgiven at that first level. Second level is, we may not be disturbed when we hear about them, but we may be disturbed when we but we may wish ill upon them. So that is second level of forgiveness, that we wish well for them. And third level of forgiveness is when we pray for their spiritual well-being. We are not disturbed hearing about them. We do not wish ill about them, but actually go forward and pray for their spiritual well-being. This is what Srila Haridas Thakur did. Jesus Christ did the second section. Please do not, they know not what they are doing. So please forgive them, Krishna. But Haridas Thakur said, not just forgive, give them spiritual advancement. Like that. So, and if we are looking for any reason to forgive, there is no reason, then we will never find any reason to forgive. Forgiveness is causeless. There is never a good reason to forgive. But we must still practice that forgiveness. Let's start small. Forgive people for small offenses that they have done to us. We'll build that forgiveness muscle. Then we'll be able to forgive when maybe bigger offenses, then bigger. Because forgiveness is a part of bhakti as well. Then we can understand that everyone is a part and parcel of Krishna. If we forgive others, Krishna will forgive us. We are also doing so many things that are offensive. But of course, that is one motivation. That is not the highest motivation. Highest motivation to forgive is because they are part and parcels of Krishna, and Krishna will like if they are forgiven. So there are many other things that we can discuss, but I think we are reaching the time limit. What is the time, Mataji? Do we have some more time, or do we ask for questions now?
Prabhu, as you wish, we have 10 minutes. So if you want, we can ask devotees to ask questions.
Yes, sure. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Let us go for some questions.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Yeah, Shilpa Mataji, please ask.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Again, one more time, whenever you come, it is with so much of clarity in your thoughts that, goes down into us. Prabhuji, my question is that when you say that we have to forgive someone, do we also understand that the Krishna will give us dadami buddhi? Because not all the times we are able to forgive. So do I understand that this time Krishna doesn't want me to forgive? Is it that like that? He'll give me the dami buddhi whenever. It'll come from within. I mean, I tend to think like that. Prabhu, please guide me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. A very, very good question. So if I understand your question, you're saying if we are not able to forgive someone, we'll say, okay, Krishna, whenever Krishna wants, he will give us the strength to forgive. Yes, that is true. But first is we must want to forgive. That is when Krishna will dadami buddhi yogam. If we don't want to forgive, and sometimes we have to be careful and ask ourselves, am I not forgiving because I don't want to forgive, or because I'm using the excuse that Krishna is not making me forgive? So depending on that, if we can tell Krishna, look, I'm being very honest. I'm not able to forgive this person, this offense that was there, but it will help me in bhakti if I forgive. I understand that. So please give me the strength to forgive. But right now, I'm just not able to. Please show me the way how I can forgive, because I know forgiveness will please you. And sometimes, this is one way we could do. Second thing we should think is, sometimes we are not able to forgive because we think if we forgive that person, we are supporting what that person did. We are saying, yes, what that person did, they can do that again. That is not forgiveness. Forgiveness does not mean that that person can keep doing the same thing to us. We can forgive a person in our heart, yet not associate with them, but not have any grudge with them. We can say, yes, I've forgiven you, but I'm not going to associate with you, or the relationship will not go back to the same. But in our minds, it is not disturbing us. That is forgiveness. So sometimes we are not wanting to forgive because we feel then we are justifying what they did. So we should understand what forgiveness really means. And if we see, Krishna is the most forgiving. He forgives our actions and he forgives our intentions also. He forgave the action. If our intention is bad, action is good. He forgives our intention. If our action is bad, but intention is good, he'll forgive our action. Putana, her intention was bad. She wanted to kill Krishna, but her action was good. She nursed Krishna. So Krishna took the action, good action, but forgave the intention and gave her the position of nurse in the spiritual world. Indra, his intention was bad. His action was also bad. So then a devotee had to come, Surabhi. So then Krishna forgave. So we know that Krishna is always most forgiving. And because we are part and parcel of Krishna, devotees of Krishna, we should try as much as possible to forgive. And if we are not able to forgive, we should keep the mind, start forgiving things that you are able to. Slowly we'll build the forgiving muscle and eventually we'll be able to forgive as well. But for Krishna to give us the strength to forgive, we have to want to forgive first.
Hare Krishna.
Does that answer your question?
Thank you so much. Yeah, my second question was going to be this only, that then people will take us for granted and keep repeating the action. But yes, you answered it well. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Meenakshi Mataji, just a minute. Just a
Yes,
minute.
yes.
Suma Mataji and then you. Huh? Okay.
Yes, sure.
No problem, Mataji. Let Meenakshi Mataji ask that. Then I'll ask Mataji if time.
Okay. Yeah, Meenakshi Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Mataji, I just wanted to ask as an extension, Prabhuji, you said this, na Prabhuji, that they will not take you into, that is, when you forgive also, you have to see that, you don't maintain the relationship with them. That is, you're forgiving the act, but you will not this one. How does this forgiving aspect work in family, Prabhuji? Because it becomes very complex in family situations, right? Like when it comes to principles, leading a family, what principles we are supposed to set as parents, and forgiving the kids and forgiving our own spouses, because we are not always perfect. Sometimes I might make a mistake, sometimes my husband might make a mistake. So how do we go about that in consideration with spiritual life as well as forgiving? Because sometimes as ladies, as Matajis, we are always taken for granted, and even though we try to let them know that this is wrong, this is not done, this is not acceptable for me, they don't bother about it. We might be angry with them, or we might convey that this is not acceptable, but if they keep repeating as a family, our spouse and our children keep repeating the same thing, then how do we always go a step forward and say, okay, is it okay as a spiritual devotee, should I always say, okay, Krishna will take care, let me forgive them, and take on whatever is given to me from their side, or put a foot down and say, no, this is enough, this is you've exceeded the limit, so I'm not going to take any more? How do we decide there, Prabhuji? Because in family it becomes very, very difficult, isn't it, Prabhuji? If it's any outside relationship, we can as well say, I forgive you, but we can avoid them. But family, it's not like that. I have to see my spouse on an everyday basis. I have to take care of the children on an everyday basis. So here it becomes very difficult, Prabhuji. So please.
Yeah, okay, that's a very nice question, very practical. And Krishna gives a practical response just like he gave to Arjuna. Arjuna, he had this tussle with his family members. And he said, but they're my family after all, so I won't fight. I forgive them. Arjuna wanted to go that route. And Krishna, the whole Bhagavad Gita, he's trying to explain to Arjuna that forgiveness does not mean that you don't take action against that person. We have to, in our mind, we should not have any grudge. But for that is for our spiritual advancement. But for setting an example to the society, we have to take some actions so that that doesn't happen again. But when we take those actions, it is not out of grudge. It is not out of revenge. Arjuna, he was thinking, if I fight, the act of fighting can only happen if I have the intention of revenge. Otherwise, I won't be able to fight. And Krishna said, no, you don't fight out of revenge. You fight out of bhakti and love towards me. So Krishna is telling that bhakti is an art where we have clear intentions in mind, even if the actions look like we don't have clear intentions. Arjuna is fighting. To fight, Arjuna has to be angry. But that anger is not out of revenge. That anger is because I have to do this duty for Krishna. So he did not have any grudge against, he forgave Duryodhana. He forgave everyone. He did not have any grudge. But he said, I'm fighting because Krishna is asking me to. Not because I want to take. So similarly, another example is that sometimes even in temples, some management has to take some tough decisions, tough calls on some devotee who may have done something. So at that time, we asked Giriraj Maharaj what we should do. And he said, first, make sure you have forgiven that devotee before taking any action on that devotee. Work on yourself that you have forgiven that devotee, that you are not disturbed or offended by any of the actions personally of what he did. After you're forgiven, then you decide what is the best action to set an example for the rest of the community. So similarly, we can forgive our spouse, but again, internally we are forgive. Then we think, okay, I've forgiven. I have no grudge. Now let me see what is the best response in this situation. This has, my spouse has been doing this again and again, again and again. I need to take a tough stance, but that tough stance will not be out of grudge or revenge or resentment. I've already forgiven. Then there will be clarity in our mind, and we'll, even if we take a tough stance or action against it, in whatever be the appropriate action against it, it won't be out of revenge or resentment. It would be with clarity of thought, because the revenge, the resentment clouds our judgment, and then we take action out of resentment. It never goes well. So even on a practical level, first pray to Krishna, work on ourselves to forgive the person internally, then see what is the best action. We can forgive, but yet be tough. Forgiveness does not mean that action also we let them go scot-free. No, we hold them accountable. But we won't hold them accountable out of a resentment or a revenge. We'll hold them accountable with clarity of thought, so that it does not happen again, or that it has happened, this is enough. And then they will get that message. Otherwise, the only message they get, oh, you're doing out of revenge. And when we take tough stance out of clarity of thought after forgiving, then there is no then they also get the message. Yes, this is right. What the stance has been taken is correct. Let's try to change myself. Does that address your question? I'm not sure if I was very clear.
Yes, yes, Prabhuji. Actually, I came up with the question because I'm in the situation right now. I had a tough situation coming to me yesterday. Somehow, I didn't even attend the class. It was that bad. So probably Krishna said, attend the class today at least so that you get a solution. Hopefully, I did the same thing. I first thought I will not do it. But then, as you said, I pray to Krishna, help me, because it's a really tough thing, Prabhuji. Being a devotee, we get criticized so much. And it's a hard thing to do, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare
All our
Krishna.
prayers is over to you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, one small clarification by this subject, Prabhuji. Even though we were in calm and quiet position, the family members, they may not cooperating with us. So even though, of course, we were by hearing all these classes and everything is in action, not by hearing, in action only. So we are ready to forgive anything, anybody, whatever may be the case. Even though if they take that as a weakness, then what to do, Prabhuji? They were not. They were doing the same thing again and again. So they were neglecting us also. Then how we can overcome all those difficulties particularly in the family positions?
So, I mean, we can discuss offline if there is any specific family situation. But in general, if we have to take a tough stance, forgiveness does not mean we cannot take a tough stance. We should take a tough stance. It's just that don't take that tough stance out of grudge in your heart, out of bad feelings in your heart, because that will impact our bhakti also. Arjuna took a tough stance. He fought and killed people, but not out of revenge, not out of greed or pride or anger, out of love for Krishna. Prahlad Maharaj, so many great devotees are there. They have taken tough stance against their family, but not out of resentment and anger, which pollutes our mind. So sometimes we may have to take a tough stance because we don't want them to take us for granted, or that they may, if we are too soft, they may consider this as weakness. So we may be tough on them. Like with a child, sometimes with a child, we may have to discipline them, but we are disciplining them out of love. We are not disciplining them because we hate them. But we discipline them. We're taking a tough stance. We may give them a timeout, but it's not out of hatred. If it is out of hatred, that is a problem that we should work on. That we are taking someone else's anger out on our kids. That's a bad stance. But because we want to tell them this is the right thing to do, so you do it, then that is not a we can do that tough stance even after we have forgiven someone. Sometimes we feel forgiveness means we let them go scot-free. No, we can hold them accountable even after forgiving them in our hearts.
Fabulous
Does that
answer,
address?
Prabhu.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
bravo.
Krishna. Yes, the exercise is going on. So thank you, Prabhuji. I do agree. Thank you,
That
Hare Krishna.
balance, how to have that balance, for that is bhakti. That's why we have to surrender to Krishna.
Yes,
That's why
Prabhuji.
we have to cry out to Krishna, please help me. What is the right balance? I know I have to do like this, but how do I do it? Please tell me. And Krishna, then if we have that desire, then Krishna will definitely dadami buddhi yogam tam.
Yes, Prabhuji, I do understand, and then I am getting the inspiration and also message from him. Definitely, I came across. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
And thank you, Meenakshi Mataji, for asking this question. Suma Mataji, I saw your hand raised.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Subbarao Prabhu wants to ask Mataji. And Hare
Yeah,
Krishna.
so is your question answered?
No, Mataji. I'll
Okay.
just ask Mataji
Okay.
after them.
Okay.
Because
So,
they
but-
rarely raise
yes.
their hand. Hare Krishna.
You please go ahead with the question, Mata. I just want to clarify only one word. From what Prabhuji said, I could get enlightenment. There are two things called attitude and action. Attitude should be always forgiveness, and action can be as per the situation.
Correct.
So, sorry, Prabhuji is focusing more on the attitude, whatever may be the thing. Let your attitude come back to balance, come to zero level. That's like at Krishna's level. Zero means that is everything, nothing that is having a prejudice on our mind. Then, when one's attitude is towards forgiveness, action can be either, whichever suits. Either you can be firm, you can be harsh, you can be this thing, but it should only be like an action, an actor coming into the stage to act and come back. Then
Exactly.
that's what I could get message. Whether I'm right or not, I don't know. Probably.
Yes, no, thank you for clarifying that. Yes, that is what I'm trying to say.
Take care of attitude, and actions can be befitting to the situation.
Correct.
Basically,
But for that we have to be,
Arjuna's
for that
attitude
we have
was
to be,
changed by Krishna.
yes, that's true. But for that we have to be very, very honest with ourselves and careful, because sometimes in the name of that action we'll say, yeah, my attitude is forgiving. We'll take that forgiveness for granted. We should be very sure that there is no resentment. And that's why I told those 3 levels of tests that we can say what level of forgiveness we have given that person. If I hear their name, am I still disturbed? Am I wishing ill on them? Am I praying for their spiritual advancement? Then we'll know what level I have forgiven them. Till then, let's not act, because our attitude will cloud our judgment.
Yes, Prabhu.
Next.
So next is now Suma Mataji, will you ask or?
Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Mataji, for the opportunity. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. We learnt so much, Prabhuji. Not so much, Hare Krishna. I'm very sorry. We learnt a little bit, Prabhuji, like in the Dhruva Maharaj pastimes, like what we should pray and what we should not pray. Material things we should not pray. But Prabhuji, we are so dependent on the Lord, even for a mercy, like when we send our children to the shop, nearby shop, and when it gets delayed to come, so we start going to the Lord, and when we send out itself, we keep praying, Prabhuji. So is it that we are disturbing the Lord, Prabhuji? Like in each and every moment, we are in need of the mercy of the Lord. So what is it, Prabhuji? How can we, Prabhuji, like discriminate that I should not pray this, I should pray this? Like, how can we do that, Prabhuji? Each and every moment, we are dependent on the Lord. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, we are dependent on the Lord, and without their help, we cannot come out, we cannot do anything. But at the same time, see, there is one attitude where we are thinking that everything is dependent on the Lord. The other attitude is, yes, the bhakti attitude is everything is dependent on the Lord, but whatever little power Krishna has given me, I want to use in your service. I don't want you to serve me. I want to serve you. So I am praying so that please help me serve you in that way with whatever little thing that is there. So a devotee tries to cultivate that attitude. But we are dependent on Krishna, but doesn't mean that we don't use the power or energy that Krishna has given us. It's like this is called the cat philosophy. You know how the cat holds the kitten in its mouth? It's just dangling. The kitten is just dangling. So that is not how we are dependent on Krishna. We are dependent on Krishna by saying, yes, I want to serve you, like Yashoda Mata. She is serving Krishna, and she's worried about Krishna also, but she's doing whatever in her best capacity. She's trying to serve him. So in that mood, we should try to see how I can serve Krishna rather than taking service from Krishna. But at the same time, I'm dependent on Krishna, so I will pray to him for the energy, for using me as his instrument so that I can please him. So if we are worried about our child, we pray to Krishna, please, Krishna, use me as your instrument that I can take the best care of the child. Instead of saying, Krishna, you take care of the child. I'm sending the child wherever I want in dangerous situations also. You take care. No, Krishna, please use me as instrument so I can take care of that of the child for you on your behalf.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhuji. Like I can understand that we are only the caretakers of what has been given to us. Like kids, it may be kids, husband, and everybody around us. So Prabhuji, sometimes it so happens like only when we pray and beg to the Lord, certain things are given, like that mercy. We can feel that the prayers are fulfilled. But if we don't, when we ask for health or something, which we are in need of it, because only with good health we can pray and we can worship the Lord. So certain things, Prabhuji, like when we do it on a daily basis, it becomes so habitual, like we keep begging the Lord, give me health, give me health, and give. So it becomes a habit, Prabhuji. So that is why, Prabhuji, I just wanted to know, are we going in the wrong direction? Like,
just add, if you so desire, like Srila Prabhupada said. Because you know what, if Krishna desires, definitely, but we don't want to impose on you, Krishna, what I want. You know best. As per my understanding, this is what I feel will help me in my spiritual life, will help me in surrendering to you. If I have good health, I'll be able to serve you nicely. So if you so desire, please give me good health in that way. So that if you so desire is important.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Mataji, is it okay to ask one more question to
Yeah,
Prabhuji?
Mataji, just after Anita Mataji. Actually,
Yes,
Shilpa
Mataji. Hare.
Mataji, you also have asked one question. So I'm giving chance first to Anita Mataji, and then I'll come
Yes,
to
Mataji.
both of
Thank you
you.
so much.
Yeah,
Hare
Anita
Krishna. Thank you
Mataji,
so
please.
much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for this very, very practical question and answer session also, apart from the class. And yeah, of course, that forgiveness, which Mataji asked, I was about to ask that. Thank you to Meenakshi Mataji also about that. So with the immediate family members, it doesn't happen for a long time also, Prabhu. So sometimes, yeah, we keep on forgiving them, but there is one break point where we have to stop and we have to show them, no, this is not right. So, and at that point of time, it is that it burst out. So that the whole time which we are forgiving them, at that point of time, it will burst out. So, and then they would criticize. Okay, this is a way you're doing your bhakti, or what is this? So that happens. So first thing is that, and second one is I just want to know that you were saying about the prayers which are mentioned in the Bhagavatam, like Kunti Maharani prayers and Prahalad Maharaj prayers. There are three things which are said in the prayers, you said, Prabhuji. So can you just list that once again?
Yes, sure. One is the first stage is where we glorify Krishna, uh, and that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's so merciful. So many different ways in which acharyas have glorified him. Second section of those prayers is they say how fallen we are, and how we are so dependent on Krishna and things like that. And third section is where then we ask for spiritual benedictions. so that we can engage in their devotional service.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Shilpa Mataji and then Suma Prabhu, is it fine? Because I know over there it is very late night.
Yeah, it's okay. No problem.
Can we take 2 more questions, Prabhu?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, Shilpa Mataji.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. It is on the same lines what Meenakshi Mataji and I had asked the same question. If there is a family member who is like how you're saying, but what happens is that since if the uh, all the offenses that are happening or whatever disturbances are happening are continuous and it keeps repeating since years in spite of we reacting or not reacting, then what does one do, Prabhuji? It keeps repeating.
Yeah, then we have to take some stance, as we said, in action. But that action should be with an attitude. First, we have to fix our attitude, make sure we are forgiving them, and then we take that action in a very clear mind, not but not take action out of resentment. Take action out of forgiveness. Take action out of the attitude of forgiveness, like that Prabhu explained.
Yeah, so the only difference we have to make now is that we are taking a stand and we are taking action, but it has to come out of forgiveness. Only if that, because action we have been taking, but the behavior is still not changed. It's the same from years. The same situations trigger the same way, and which, we feel bad about it. So I think the action can remain the same, but the attitude maybe I can change now so that.
Yeah. So then it doesn't, because if we keep keep that attitude of forgiveness and make sure that we have forgiven, and there is no resentment, then it won't come out as a bursting of emotions, that action. Because if that action comes out with a burst of emotion, it may be taken in a different way. That will not change the heart of the other person. But if we
Because there are a
take that
lot of
action,
times, yeah, because there are a lot of times where I choose not to react. I just let it pass, but it doesn't stay there. Then again, it happens immediately, because then I can't take it. So again, then it happens. So there's
yeah,
but the
no
only
need
thing
to react. No need to react immediately. That's good, so that you can have time to pray and ask for the strength to forgive, and understand our capacity. What is the capacity that I can forgive? I can forgive this much, and pray for more forgiveness. Then you react based on whatever is best action for that situation. Because otherwise we may act out of resentment, and then we will only lament later. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Or we'll backtrack whatever strong stance we are taking, that, oh yeah, I did it out of emotion, I shouldn't have gone so far. There's a very thin line on what is the strong action I should take. We may sometimes go too far and then lament, I shouldn't have gone that far. That's why it's important that we work on ourselves first, then take a strong action and stick to that until things change.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Shall I?
Yeah, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. Mataji, Prabhuji, when our Hare Krishna, our
Hare Krishna.
forgiving part, does it have anything to do with their karma, Prabhuji? Like when we forgive, when we pray for them, it is really going to help them. So like that, when we forgive them, does it really help them in their, karma or something like that? Only because of when they clear their karmas and everything, no, Prabhuji, they will be able to attain the Supreme Lord. They will be able to do bhakti. So our forgiving part has a very crucial, role in their bhakti as well. So I just wanted you to help me, Prabhuji.
So what is your question?
I'm very sorry, Prabhuji. I'm not so good in communication, Prabhuji. Like I just wanted to know, like if somebody has hurt us in any way, if we do not initially, we will not be able to forgive them. But as we progress in bhakti, we want to do we are doing everything to please the Lord. Only when we forgive them and pray for them, it is like giving them a chance to approach the Supreme Lord for their for the Sukriti. So I just wanted to know, only when we forgive, is it that their karma will be cleared, or some vikarma if they had done to us? So will it have any effect on that, Prabhuji? Like when we forgive them, or is it that whether you forgive it or not, that is not going to affect their karma or any progress or anything like that? I hope you
No,
are able to.
yeah, no, thank you. I understand your question now. Yes, it definitely helps them. Like Prahlad Maharaj had forgiven Hiranyakashipu, and he, to the level where when Nrsimhadev asked, what benediction do you want? And Prahlad Maharaj said, my only benediction is that may my father Hiranyakashipu may be delivered. So yes, his forgiveness had that impact on him. Even Haridas Thakur, and I'm giving big examples where Haridas Thakur also begged for forgiveness for the people who were beating him, and asked for their deliverance. Nityananda Prabhu, in the Jagai Madhai pastime, he was beaten, but still he begged for their forgiveness and asked them to give spiritual advancement to Lord Chaitanya, to give to Jagai and Madhai in response to Mar Khe Prem Dai. Mar Khe Prem Dai Doyal To Nai Hai. Who is so merciful as Lord Nityananda that after being beaten, he gives love of God? So yes, definitely our forgiveness, our prayers help them in their bhakti. At the same time, that is a very high level of forgiveness. But there are multiple levels we have to cross. First level of forgiveness is we at least don't have any grudge against them. Then second level of forgiveness is we are not wishing any ill on them. Third level of forgiveness is we are praying for their spiritual advancement. So we should internally, all those things we should keep working on to pray for their spiritual advancement. But for our material action that they have done, we should take an appropriate stance out of an attitude of forgiveness.
Yes, Prabhuji. Got it, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Prabhuji. Can I answer one question, Prabhuji?
Sure.
Mataji, Prashanti Mataji, there are two hands raised. You are also asking a question. I can see it's 10:57 here. And for Prabhu also, it's very late. What should I do?
Mataji, I'll just ask the question. He can give me an answer through WhatsApp.
That is fine. You can ask your question, and then I will give time to Sarika Mataji and Padma Mataji also to do that.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Prabhu, there is a slight line. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. There is just a light boundary between giving a reaction and not giving a reaction, Prabhuji. So when somebody hurts, sometimes we may feel that we have to react and tell them, give an answer. Sometimes I feel that maybe it's my past karma that is coming back to me. So when to react and when not to react, just let me know, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
I mean, it's always best to not immediately give a reaction or anything. Think through things and then only give your reaction. Because in the moment, whenever we react, more often than not, it is not the best thing. Later on, we may lament. But we should start, Prabhupada says that when somebody hurts us or criticizes us or does so many things, we should think that this criticism is coming from Krishna. Krishna wants me to hear this. And this person is just an instrument. If we get some letter by a postman and that letter does not have good things in it, do we blame the postman or should we blame the source from where it's coming? So if we are hearing something, a devotee thinks, actually, I deserve much worse. This person is only saying these small things. Actually, this person should have said much worse things if they really know what is there in my heart, they would have said so many worse things. They are telling only little bit. And they are only a postman of Krishna's. Krishna wants me to hear this. And so I should not have any grudge against the postman. If it was not this person, Krishna would have made me hear from some other person. But that message Krishna will keep giving me that message unless I accept and understand that message. And there will be multiple postmen who may give that message until we get it. So we think like that, and in this way we forgive the postman, that you are just an instrument through which it has come. Actually, Krishna wants me to hear this. Now, it may be Krishna wants to hear us because so that we can improve ourselves, or we could become more humble, or we could become more tolerant, or sometimes Krishna wants us to hear things that we may not have done, just so that we don't do the same thing to someone else.
Yes,
So that we
Prabhuji.
feel, so that we feel how it feels when someone says like this, how it feels, so that we will not do that to someone else. So there are multiple reasons why Krishna may want us to hear it. So think from the spiritual platform, think from how we actually deserve worse. And these things will help us forgive the postman. But in an action, we must take some stance after thinking instead of immediately reacting. Think through things and then take a stance and then stick to that stance.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
So can I request Sarika Mataji and Padma Mataji to ask their questions? Maybe you can record it later and send it to me, and then I will share it in the group.
Okay, sure.
Hare
Yeah.
Krishna Mataji. Sorry to disturb you. I have put my feelings in the chat, Mataji. I have put the feelings in the chat.
Your question, Mataji?
No, because of this attitude of the person, maybe due to psychological issues. So he may need some counsel. Because immediately the same thing is happening, hurting people, talking rubbish and all that, then he may need some help and support to come out of this. Maybe a psychological issue. Yes, ultimately spiritual, but he may need some help, I feel.
Yes, that's true. And that's why instead of reacting, whatever that person has said, we forgive them in our heart, and then we'll be able to see what is best for that person. Is our taking stance a best thing, or should we take them to some psychological help? Otherwise, if we are having any grudge against that person, we may not be in a position to help them, even give them psychological help.
Yeah, I know a family,
thank you,
it has happened like that. Later, he was refusing to go to the psychiatrist also. And later, he took the help, somehow, maybe God's grace. Now he's much, much better. And his abuses and the attitude of negativity, all that has reduced. So I just felt the Matajis who are all undergoing this stress, they may need a psychological support and guidance. That's all, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you, Swayam Prabha Mataji. Hare Krishna. Sarika Mataji, just a quick question. Prabhu
Sorry,
will
Mataji,
and send it later.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you for all your insights and realizations. Prabhuji, my question is regarding the time factor. We hear time and again about all the anarthas and like you said, 3 components of bhakti is humility, compassion, and forgiveness. But we don't hear much about the time factor, that each one of us are on different spiritual platforms and different journeys. Prahlad Maharaj and Dhruv Maharaj were liberated at the age of 5 years. But each one of us, some have joined at 15, some at 20, some at 50, 60. But the moment we join a spiritual movement, we look at others with so much of expectations without realizing that we have reached there, but they might not. So our expectations increase, and probably that's where all the stress and the conflicts increase. So my question is regarding the time factor. Along with preaching, if a time factor is given to people that it's all right, the other person might take a few months, a few years, maybe even decades to improve upon themselves. Each one is on their own journey, so we cannot judge them. And sometimes a lot of devotees come across as being on a high horse. You reach there and you want the others to quickly come on board, but that does not happen. Sorry, Prabhuji, for the long question. Hare Krishna.
So what is the question in this? I mean, I agree with your statements.
Yes, my question is that what do the scriptures tell us about the time factor? We should be humble, we should be compassionate, we should forgive, Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Mad, Mascharya. We have to overcome that. By reading it, we will not overcome instantly. So what do the scriptures say about the time factor? How long will it take, or how long should we expect? Or of course, Kala is in Krishna's hands. I understand that.
Yeah, that's a wonderful question. I'm happy to answer it, but Mataji, are you saying I should respond it offline?
Yeah, yes, Prabhu. Because there is another class which will start actually, it's 11:05 over here, and they start from 11. So must be some of them are waiting in this meeting only. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll respond to this question
So sorry,
offline.
Prabhu.
My wife Kalasudha will send to you my response, and then you can share with the
Definitely,
others.
Prabhu. Padma Mataji, your question?
Yeah, Mataji, just a quick question, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. This topic is very, very interesting, Prabhuji. Only thing I want to know, the forgiveness is so powerful, then why didn't Chaitanya Mahaprabhu forgive Chota Haridas Thakur for the mistake, the small thing that he had to go to the extent of committing suicide?
Okay, thank you for this question. I'll answer this question also offline.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you
Prabhuji.
so much,
Okay,
Prabhu.
thank you.
Fabulous
Thank you,
question
Prabhu.
answer session and fabulous session. We learned so many things, even in question answers only, Prabhu. So thank you once again. We'll end the session here.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, can I make
Yeah.
a request? Can we have one counseling class from Prabhuji? Only a counseling class, Mataji, if we could have. Because this helps, Mataji.
Yes. Wonderful idea, Prabhuji.
Yeah, because that practically how to do all these or how to will really be very helpful, Prabhuji. I don't know your schedule, but if you could spend us, and if Narayani Mataji is okay with having that counseling
I'm
class.
perfectly okay with that, but just about Prabhu's schedule.
Sure, me and my wife Kalasudha, give some counseling sessions as well. So we'll be very happy to provide that. And I'm sure, Kalasudha, my good wife, would also, you'll benefit from her perspectives as well together.
Definitely.
We can have one class each, one from you and one from her, Prabhu.
Or they both sitting together, Mataji. What else we want?
Okay, that will be
together.
great. That will be very, very great. Thank
Yeah,
you
both
so much.
together should be
Yes,
okay.
Mataji, both together.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, fine.
Sure.
So we will plan it soon. I'll talk to Prabhu and Mataji, and then we'll let you know. Hare Krishna. So we'll end the
Thank
session,
you very
Prabhu.
much.
Yes, Mataji.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa
Sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo
नमो
namo
अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय
वृंद की जय
Bhagavatam.
श्री
Bhagavatam की
जय
जय,
भागवतम की
Bhagavad
जय
की जय।
जय प्रभु जी हरे कृष्ण
प्रभु जी थैंक यू
Krishna.
प्रभु
End the
हरे
session,
कृष्णा
Prabhu.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you so